The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy. I'm Tank Spencer. Jeremy Greene. I almost said Brian Haynes. He's not here. This is my first time. This is my first time on screen with Tommy Bradley. It's the first time I've ever had to do the positioning statement, and I fucked it up. I'm sorry. It's a Monday. Welcome into the Wicked Weed studio, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Did you have a good one?
I did. Here's the thing. If we're going to do this together, somebody's going to have to shorten their fucking name. Because our names fit on that nameplate like a fat chick in a damn church pew. It's not good. I rearranged that every way I could. They're all lined up perfectly, and it still looks weird.
Yeah. You did your best, buddy.
I tried. Damn it.
A for effort.
Maybe I'm as dumb as Bengals fans think I am.
Maybe so. It was. It was a fun weekend here in the Sportsocracy. The team-by-team schedule videos went out over the weekend, and we still have the NFC West to go out today, but we got a lot of good feedback from those. We appreciate everybody hitting that subscribe button.
We got a lot of feedback. I now hate a team in Ohio.
The silent majority was good.
All feedback is good feedback.
I now hate a team in Ohio more than the Cleveland Browns, and that I never thought I would say. I need the Kevin Vick Memorial Belt.
You do.
There we go.
It's all you, buddy.
Yeah, Bengals fans don't really like our predictions at all. They're really pissed off that I think I had them at 2 wins and he had them at 1 win. Or
I think
I need Cincinnati and Cleveland to organize a trade so Joe Burrow can go to Cleveland, so I don't have to hate him. Because Baker Mayfield in Cincinnati would make them the most hated franchise in sports for me.
It would be a tough sell for the Bengals.
Yeah. So, we're going to talk some delusional fan bases today. Also coming out later on today, we're going to do a power ranking in the NFL, just an off-season power ranking before we get into this year's off-season final grades.
Anybody want to take a guess who my 32 is going to be? I have a feeling they play in Ohio.
You can't do that. You can't just single them out because they're fans.
My name's on the door with yours. I can do whatever the fuck I want to.
This is true. This is very true. Maybe we'll have to put out side-by-side power rankings.
That's exactly what we're going to do.
All right.
Because I'll give you one guess as to who my 8 is. Or who my 32 is. I don't know. I had MySpace in my hand. It's been a weird morning. I don't know.
I don't know where you're going with that. Anyway, the off-season files will be coming later on this week. We'll do NFL off-season power rankings coming up today as an extra video as well. So be sure to subscribe to the channel so you get all of our content when it goes out. We want to thank our new Patreon subscribers who joined us this weekend. They were
David Evans Olson is the first one. Robert Johnson.
And Robert Johnson, right?
We love you guys. We thank you a lot. And the Patreon things will be starting this week. I had to figure out that A, algorithm, and B, website.
Right.
I like that one. And you'll actually be getting emails to if you're in the Patreon, you will be getting an email at some point today because the way you interact on YouTube is getting ready to change.
Right.
You get more things for free.
So we'll keep churning out the content here over the weekend. It was a fun sports weekend. You had a lot of NBA basketball. NBA came down to the end of the regular season yesterday. We got the playoffs are set. So later on, Jeremy will give us all his derision on the NBA playoffs, and Tommy and I will chop it up.
I can't wait for that 9-10 game between the Spurs and the Grizzlies.
Oh, it's going to be awesome.
That will be appointment television.
It's going to be awesome.
High quality basketball.
I think I have to wash my hair that night.
The play-in tournament begins tomorrow, and on Wednesday we will have the big matchup of Steph Curry going up against LeBron James
MVP, baby.
In a one-and-done playoffs on the line. Well, it's not really one and done because both those teams will get a second chance.
Yeah,
of course they will, and that's one of the downfalls of this play-in tournament is that we got a pretty good feeling like we know who's going to end up, and I think it's going to be the 7-8 seeds. Then wind up as the 7-8 seeds.
Yeah,
I don't see a whole lot of.
I think out of the two, I'd probably rather end up with the 2 seed to face.
Right.
Well, I don't know. I'd probably end up wanting the 1 seed, actually. I don't want to see the Suns in the playoffs. I'd probably rather see the Jazz. So who knows? Somebody might just throw the game. LeBron might have a hurt ankle again just so they get the right spot.
I just need the East to figure out who my Nuggets are going to beat in the finals. That's all I need. That's all I need from the East.
You're a
I
Jokic
just need
man.
the Nets, the Bucks. I don't give a shit. Just tell me.
Just
bring them to me.
Jeremy is a fan of big men, so he's a.
I can't disagree with this.
He's a '90s post play guy. He likes to back a guy down every now and then, feel that resistance. He's Jeremy lives in the paint. If you couldn't tell,
right.
I can't disagree with anything you just said, but I really want to.
But before we get into all of that,
Dirtiest
let's
player in the
talk
game.
about the rookie quarterbacks in the NFL this year. We have, obviously, everybody's excited about, the resurgence, hopefully, that is coming for the Jacksonville Jaguars with Trevor Lawrence. We know he's the day one starter.
No doubt.
Zach Wilson in New York, we know he's the day one starter. They went and got rid of Sam Darnold, so there is no quarterback controversy there.
He also has the hottest mom in the NFL.
by far.
By far, not close.
Trey Lance was drafted 3rd overall, and he won't see the field for a while, which he shouldn't.
Don't agree with you.
You don't agree?
I'm going to say something that may come back to bite me in the ass. I'm not going to be shocked if Jimmy Garoppolo is not on the San Francisco 49ers roster week 1.
Really?
I won't be shocked. Because here's the thing. I went down a rabbit hole and I discovered something that I did not know. And I hadn't had it put this way to me. Jimmy Garoppolo's salary, when does it become guaranteed?
No.
Week 1.
Week 1. It's $25 million.
That's a lot of coin.
You know what they could use that money to do if he's not on the roster?
What's that?
Roll it over into next year to re-sign Bosa and Fred Warner.
Yep.
I had not thought of that. And it's kind of a good point.
Would anyone trade for him and pay any of that money?
I don't think they have to. I think they could cut him outright.
Wow.
To save $25 million, I think they could cut him outright.
That sounds insane.
It sounds insane until you start thinking about it and realize you basically have 2 choices. Michael Whiteside, I know our resident San Francisco 49ers fan, can speak to what I'm getting ready to say. Mm-hmm. Which would you rather do? Take your lumps with Trey Lance. Still probably be I think they're an 11-win team if Trey Lance starts day 1.
Wow.
Or you can ride with Jimmy Garoppolo, knowing full well a year from now he will not be the starter, and he's probably not the starter all the way through this year. You'll lose either Fred Warner or Bosa. There's no other way around it. You cannot figure the money out any other way. Not without losing, just hemorrhaging players.
Yeah.
The only way you retain them both, because they're both going to get top of the industry money,
Right.
is to not pay Jimmy Garoppolo. That's it.
They knew they couldn't play DeForest Buckner. They had to make that trade.
They had to make the deal, and I don't think they're going to do that again.
Now, what you say makes a lot of sense. However, I don't believe that this is right now. I believe this is a team that can contend for a Super Bowl.
I agree.
Correct?
For sure. And
Correct? Now let me pose this to you.
Right.
Is this a team that can contend for a Super Bowl with Trey Lance as the quarterback?
I think the ceiling's higher.
The ceiling is higher, but this year, I do not feel that is the case.
Here's the thing. They're not going to ask him to do a shitload. They're not. This is going to be a run-first team.
Yeah.
He brings
Always.
another dimension to that. And I think he can play quicker than other people do. I do. And I think they believe that.
I do think if he's on the team after a couple of mediocre games from Jimmy Garoppolo, Shanahan's going to be looking at Trey Lance, the specimen, the athletic freak he is on the sidelines, and being like, I can do some fun things with this guy. Like, I can, these third downs that Jimmy G's throwing it away or throwing it in the dirt, I think I can make some things happen, get this guy in some good positions, get him out in space, doing some things in the run game. So I think it's going to be the little devil on Shanahan's shoulder most of the season if Garoppolo's still there.
It sounds insane when I say it.
It sounds insane.
But the more I've thought about it, the more I don't see how it doesn't happen.
I don't see it that way.
You gave up that much draft capital. And you got to think about this. You gave up this much draft capital to get up there and get Trey Lance. So you know you don't have those picks one way or the other.
That's why it hurts not to trade Garoppolo, though.
Uh-huh. Who's going to trade for him? There's not a landing spot for Garoppolo.
Should have done it earlier.
Denver.
No.
Denver.
You want 3 mediocre quarterbacks on the roster? Like,
I mean,
he's better than what they have.
Are 3 mediocre quarterbacks as good as one good one? I don't know. I don't see a reason.
Yeah, and then you have, all right, so let's say they do that. And instantaneously, George Payton has to answer well, why did you not just take Justin Fields?
Right.
Because he sucks. I mean, what? Sorry, I forgot that camera was on for a minute.
He doesn't suck.
God, I'm so tired of Justin Fields people.
I understand your thing. We'll get to Justin Fields in just a second. But Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't know. To me, he's still like, The Big Lebowski is one of my favorite movies. He's still like the rug that ties the room together. At this point. Trey Lance is not ready to start right now. Again, you have to go back to all the things that we said about this guy leading up to the NFL draft. He's had how many starts? What was it, 18? 18 starts at quarterback? 17 starts.
Mac Jones and Trey Lance both had 17.
Yeah, one this year.
17 starts at quarterback. That's not the guy that I don't know.
And not
to me, there's a big difference between Trey Lance and Mac Jones, despite the fact that they have the same number of starts.
And we still don't.
I disagree.
Despite the talent, they were playing in the FCS. Trey Lance in South Dakota State, or North Dakota State. So we really don't know against high quality competition what he's going to do. Right. So I think it would go against everything Shanahan's been saying about we want to be competitive this year and we need Jimmy G to do that. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times you'll hear things like that, and then when it comes down to it and that check's supposed to clear for $25 million in week 1, people get, looking farther down the spreadsheet at next year and who they've got to sign. So I could see it happening, but I don't think it will.
I don't think it's going to happen. I think Shanahan looks at this and he goes, the money would be great to have, but I'm not.
The money's going to be vitally important.
But I'm not cutting loose a quarterback.
Let me ask you a question. How much money do the 49ers have right now?
How much money do they have? I don't know.
$17 million.
Okay.
How much cap space do they have going into next offseason?
How much?
13. That's with no Fred Warner. That's with 30 players under contract. Mm-hmm. They have $13 million in cap space.
Yeah.
And then you have a Bosa extension the next year.
Yeah.
And you better get it
I was going to say, 13's not 1 year of what Bosa's going to cost.
No. I mean, here's to bring back Fred Warner and bring back Bosa.
Yeah.
You're going to have to do this. I'm not saying it's what you want to do. I'm well aware it's not what you want to do. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is it may be what you have to do.
Right.
You may not have a choice.
Right.
And you've made this bed with Trey Lance, and you might just have to take the lumps.
And if they are going that route, they need to do it sooner than later, because if this really is going to be Trey Lance's team for the season, he needs as many first-team reps in camp as possible. He needs to play a lot in the preseason. He really needs some experience under his belt if he's going to be leading this team that has hopes of going to a Super Bowl.
Well, and here's the thing. If you look at the schedule, we all know the injury. If Garoppolo gets hurt, everything's guaranteed. Mm. If he gets hurt today, he gets a hangnail, it's guaranteed. Ooh. Doesn't matter if it's – none of the other things matter. Who do they start with? Mm-hmm. Look at San Francisco's schedule the first month of the season.
Oh, wow. I'm looking at the first 2 weeks right now.
At the Lions, at the Eagles, the Packers, and the Seahawks. That's 3 games they will win if it's Jimmy Garoppolo, if it's Trey Lance, if it's Tank Spencer, if it's Uncle Rico. I don't care who plays quarterback for them. They're going to win 3 of those 4 games.
Tank Spencer runs a hell of a veer, by the way.
Damn right.
Only if there's a box of Dunkin' Donuts. I have seen Tank run many a time.
It's all about the deception. I can hide the ball well in between my tits.
We're all about uplifting each other here on the Sportsocracy.
We make each other feel really warm. There's not another sweet place in the schedule for Trey Lance to slide in. I think you're setting him up for disaster. Let's say Garoppolo gets hurt in week 6, and then you're coming in against the Rams and the Cardinals, and it's a recipe for disaster. He's going to play this year at some point.
Right.
Do any of us disagree with that?
I do.
You don't think he's going to play a snap all year?
I don't think he'll. I mean, in a blowout game late in the season or when they've already got the division sewed up.
Games this year.
Well, looking at the back half of their schedule, I mean, they've got the Seahawks in week 13, then the Bengals, then the Falcons, then the Titans, and then the Texans. Those are honestly 5 out of 6 very easily winnable games. So I could see them throwing him in there week 14. But if you want a realistic shot of winning in the playoffs.
That's at a playoff push.
Yeah, that's at a playoff push.
And the record's going to be good. So this is going to be a borderline playoff team at that point.
Right.
So, and that's been my problem with this the whole time. You're telling me that a team that feels like they can get into the playoffs is going to go, no, we're done with the vet that got us to a Super Bowl. We're going to go to the rookie now.
Right. No.
I would believe more what he said, that he doesn't play at all.
He doesn't.
I don't buy it.
I don't think he plays at all. Here's the thing: we don't like to predict injuries here, because I've done that before, and the injury happens.
Unless it's predictable.
Yeah, Garoppolo's been in the league 7 years. How many times has he played 16 games? Once. It's exactly one time. He has been hurt every other year.
Right, but I'm saying you count out count out
the
injury.
two that he didn't play at all.
Right,
Yeah.
you count out projecting an injury though. I don't see a way that I don't think it's the smart move. Here's the thing: you said that if they're going to do it, they better do it sooner rather than later.
Right.
I feel like you've missed your window. If you were going to move Jimmy Garoppolo, you should have already moved him.
You didn't have an offer. That's the problem, and that's what I've tried to tell everybody. For how long have I tried to say this? Who's going to give it up?
Yeah.
A trade takes two willing partners.
Right.
Where was the willing partner?
If you had, I don't know, if you had been more open about it when all of the talk about Russ and Deshaun and Aaron Rodgers and Matt Stafford and all those guys, we were talking, not Aaron Rodgers yet. He hadn't become a problem yet.
And every guy you just
I understand that, but I'm saying when the market was open, you would have thought if they had pushed it out there, somebody would have jumped on him.
They did.
And
that's the whole point. That's what I was trying to tell all of you.
Yeah.
Everybody kept trying to read these tea leaves of, oh, Bill wants to go get Jimmy Garoppolo. If he wanted to go get him, he would have. And he didn't. He sat at 15 exactly like Bill does, and he took the quarterback that was left because he just thinks he can do it with anybody. He was never paying $25 million to Jimmy Garoppolo. It was never going to happen.
Right.
And it's bad optics with what they gave up to get less than like a 4th round pick for Jimmy G. The Panthers had to eat $17 million and 7 of the $10 million bonus that Teddy had to trade him for a 6th. So if they probably could have found a similar deal to that, but it'd be pretty bad optics to end up trading Jimmy G, your starter, for like a 6th or 7th round pick because no one wants to eat that money. So I do think that their deadline should have been, because you can't trust things in the draft. I understand teams that hold on to players because they can't be sure what they're going to get in the draft. But the moment they got to that 3rd pick and they knew who they were going to get at quarterback because Lawrence and Wilson were off the board, that's the time where they should have been like, okay, right now, before the draft, we need to go ahead and get rid of Jimmy G. If we have even an inkling in the back of our mind that we want Trey Lance to be our quarterback in the playoffs, he needs experience. He needs to play as soon as possible. If that's your ultimate goal, to have him playing and playing well in the playoffs, you've got to start him from week 1.
Let me ask you a question. You have to ignore snap minimums to even get this to come up because he only played 6 games. I use Pro Football Focus. That is my grading metric because it's the deepest grading metric that you can find.
Okay.
There were 2 quarterbacks tied with Jimmy Garoppolo in terms of position grade. Care to take a stab at who they are?
Ooh, was it Carson Wentz?
You're too high.
Daniel Jones.
You're too high. He's too high. It's Taysom Hill and Mike Glennon.
Yikes.
That's what Jimmy Garoppolo was for 6 games.
That's ridiculous.
This is the myth that everybody has been perpetrating on Jimmy Garoppolo, and we all know it. Yes, he can be a good game manager quarterback.
Yes.
That is all he is.
Yes.
And Bill looked at this like, I can get Mac Jones at 15. Bill never bought that San Francisco was going to take Mac at 3. And I didn't until 1 fucking day.
Don't need to
Most
be
important day.
Don't need to be a great quarterback to hand the ball off, and that's what the 49ers want to do.
That's the thing, and that's what I think San Francisco's looking at. Oh, Trey Lance is the rawest of all. That's fine. That's all well and good. He doesn't have to be real polished to run. He doesn't have to be real polished to throw the ball 15 to 20 times a game, which is what we're going to ask him to do, because his defense is really, really good. And Raheem Mostert, by the way, you want Jeremy's first fantasy football tidbit of the year? All the Raheem Mostert, all of it. Raheem Mostert, no matter what. You should go into every fantasy draft. Raheem Mostert, no matter what.
And you know what would be great with Kyle Shanahan's zone run scheme? Some bootlegs, some rollouts, some fake handoffs, and who's going to be better at that out of the 2? Trey Lance. Can you imagine, like, with the 49ers run game and the way people focus on it to one side of the field, Trey Lance sneaking out the backside? Like, he could run for as many yards as Garoppolo throws in a game. Like, like in that offense, I really think Kyle Shanahan would have a field day. And it's not like he has a bad arm. We're not saying this kid's strictly a runner like a Lamar Jackson that just throws it when he has to. I mean, Lance has an arm. He just hasn't played high-level competition, and he needs experience. And if they think, he's our best shot of winning a Super Bowl this year, then they need to get him in as soon as possible.
And here's the thing. Here's a quiet little thing San Francisco did, and I can already feel Tank rolling his eyes before I even say it. They did sign Nate Sudfeld, which didn't make any sense to me at the time. Because there are a lot of people that think Nate Sudfeld can be a high-level NFL backup. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't understand, why in the hell would he do that? Why would he do that? You just go back to Philadelphia. Because I know they offered him. So what is it that he saw? The chance to be the backup. Mm-hmm. The chance to be the vet behind Trey Lance. Mm-hmm. That's the smart guy in the room that teaches him how to be an NFL quarterback. I'm just telling you. You want everybody likes Jeremy going, spicy. Well, here's my spicy. Jimmy Garoppolo is not a San Francisco 49er week 1 of the NFL season. And Trey Lance is the starter.
Ugh. Write it down.
I'm just telling you. You call me crazy all you want to.
Yeah, I think you're crazy.
Okay.
I do think you're crazy on that one. Let's talk about Justin Fields. Let's talk about Justin Fields. I think it's highly more likely that he doesn't play at all rather than he be the starter week 1. Trey Lance. Justin Fields.
Wrong.
It's fake news. It's the fakest of fake news.
That is incorrect.
It's the CNN of sports takes from Tank Spencer.
Justin Fields has wound up in Chicago. Yes, we've all seen the video of him getting the call. No, he did not look happy about it. However,
no, he did not.
Makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside when you see a kid get drafted and have their dreams come true.
However, he is going to be the starting quarterback of the Chicago Bears sooner rather than later in this season, in my opinion. This is going to be my Trey Lance. This is the guy that I think starts week 1 that we're not expecting to. We know Trevor will. We know Zach will. Justin Fields is the guy.
You hit the move the thing there. Oh, no, that's fine. Hit the button you were getting right there. Yeah, you're wrong.
Week 1 at the Rams.
Yeah, you're wrong.
To start Fields' career.
Yeah, that's a train wreck. You start a guy that we basically said needs time and needs patience. 2 things that Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy have none of.
Right.
Andy Dalton's the starter of this team. You want to know when Justin Fields gets in? Right after Matt Nagy gets fired. Because he's gonna. I mean, it's gonna happen.
Yep.
Because you look at that schedule, and I am telling you, there is not a pretty place to put Justin Fields in.
Mm-hmm.
If it did play out the way that Tank said, from the moment they told Justin Fields he's going to be the starter, he would have night sweats every night thinking about Aaron Donald until that first game. Like, he would wake up calling for his parents in the middle of the night, thinking about what that man is going to do to him. He's going to be on the run for his life. Mm-hmm. And what has been Jeremy's one big critique of Justin Fields and why he needs time to develop?
Hero ball.
He
cannot take the check down.
If he's running for his life from Aaron Donald and trying to throw downfield on the run in the NFL for the first time against Jalen Ramsey and some of these guys, he's going to get picked off, and it's going to be a disaster. People are going to be saying, oh, you did it too soon. Either way, they're going to be wrong. If Fields is on the bench, then they're going to be calling for Fields when Andy Dalton loses his first few games.
Yep.
But, I mean, you've got to think long-term. At least ownership has to. I know the coach and GM are on the way out, so they're not going to care. But at least ownership needs to send word down like, hey, don't ruin this guy's career by starting him against
they're going to do whatever they can to to appease the fan base, to make it look good. And I think Justin Fields is no doubt the better quarterback in this situation.
Higher upside.
I mean, Andy Dalton, Nick Foles, Justin Fields. To me, it's a no-brainer which one of these guys should start. Now, the question is...
I just disagree with you.
Different brain.
Matt Nagy literally yesterday said Andy Dalton's our starter.
Yeah.
He's hammering this home for a reason because he knows that gives him the best chance to win football games right now. Mm-hmm. No doubt, and that's not even debatable.
They gave him a courtesy that Gutekunst wouldn't give Aaron Rodgers despite all the years of service that Rodgers has given to the Packers. They called Andy Dalton to say, hey, man, yeah, about that whole thing we talked about with you being a starter. We're drafting this guy. You're still going to be the starter. Don't worry about it. He's not ready.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Andy Dalton's the starter of this team because Matt Nagy knows he has to win games or get
Fired.
and he's gonna. It's just I'm just telling you, the Bears. I am literally looking at this like the great. Who was it? Karnak?
Yeah. Johnny Carson. Yeah.
Give me the envelope. When does Matt Nagy get fired? Bye week, and that's when Justin Fields plays. Yes, his first game is against Baltimore, and no, that's not ideal. But then you go at Detroit, Arizona, Green Bay, Minnesota, Seattle, Giants, Minnesota. That's not a super daunting part of the schedule. No. Yes, there are a couple games in there that you're probably going to get smacked in the mouth. But it's not going to matter because your coach has been fired, and you'll be finding another one for next year.
Right. And at that point, you're not playing for anything. You're out of playoff contention, all of that.
I will bet $1 to a donut hole that Justin Fields' first game is Week 11 against the Baltimore Ravens. It's at home, which helps. And Matt Nagy will no longer be the head coach.
I'll have 2 weeks to prep. It's a tough matchup to start with, but after that it gets a little easier. So,
but if you start him Week 1, he goes in on the road to the Rams and on the road against the Browns, sandwiched between a borderline college team and the Cincinnati Bengals.
That'll zap your
that
confidence.
Bengals game, hell yeah, he'll win that. Yay! And other than that, he'll throw 2 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. We're off to a shit start.
I believe that Chicago fans are pissed right now, and they want to see something change. And I think that's going to have an effect on who they end up starting Week 1. Starting out the season with Andy Dalton is not the way that they want to do it. They want to see Justin Fields, and I think they're going to give it to him. What?
I'm reading the comments. My dad has to every once in a while just put me back in my place. Zach said, "Who's that super attractive guy sitting in my seat?" And Dad said, "There are no attractive guys sitting in any of these seats."
You are 100% correct, Rick Greene.
He's not wrong.
No. Not wrong. No.
He's 100% not wrong.
Not wrong.
Sometimes we need Jeremy's dad to come humble us every now and then,
That's okay.
We had a good weekend, a lot of engagement. Someone has to come tell us we're ugly and fat,
Exactly. We appreciate it.
And again, he ain't wrong.
Not wrong.
Keeping us grounded. All right, Justin Fields, you think he'll start at the bye week?
Week 11.
I think he'll probably start Week 1. You think after the bye week as well?
Yeah, I don't love him going in at the Ravens, but I think he's going in at some point, and I don't see another time that's as good as getting 2 weeks of prep. So I agree.
I also don't know if I don't know if those other two are going to survive the onslaught that they're going to get because they're losing so many games. That's the other part. You start the season.
You said too many words that steered in opposite directions.
No, I mean, you start out that season and you end up being 1-5 in Week 6, 1-7 the next week, 1-8 the next week. How do you continue to survive? That's the question. Who are you talking about? I'm talking about the Bears.
Yeah, but who are you talking about surviving? Andy Dalton or
Andy Dalton? Yeah.
Depends. And Matt Nagy knows that's his best chance to win games and still have a job.
Yeah.
He knows that. The best quarterbacks ever come in and struggle. Justin Fields is going to do that. He has no weapons whatsoever.
No doubt.
He got Allen Robinson and a bunch of dudes.
No doubt.
So Matt Nagy this is the reason that I said this was so stupid. And I got killed by the Justin Fields apologists. You're saying he can't play. No, I'm saying this is a stupid scenario. You gave up future draft capital. You're not good, and your schedule just punched you right in the ding-ding. And this is why I told you it's stupid, because now you're stuck. Because the team needs you to go one direction, and the coach is trying to go another direction to save his job. Yeah. So now you're swimming against each other. How many times have we seen that? How many times has it ever worked out? It never works. And that's what I was trying to say, and I got... Oh, you don't know? Justin Fields is the best quarterback in this class. Cool. There were about 10 teams that said you were wrong.
Right.
So.
And even if the Bears did go 500 to start the season, is the fan base really going to be happy that they're getting a few wins with Andy Dalton?
No.
They don't want to see Andy Dalton.
No.
They were upset they got him in the first place. But the other thing that we haven't talked about yet is the weather in Chicago towards the latter half of the season. If he is getting put in, in December in Week 11, whenever it is, He's going to be playing in tough weather that's cold. And we haven't really seen him in these environments.
Oh, no, we have.
I mean,
bad.
We haven't seen him thrive in these environments.
Playing in the Big Ten, you got some cold games.
Yeah, but he didn't see as many of them as you think.
Right.
I think there were 4 games that he played where the temperature at kickoff was below 40.
Yeah.
And his quarterback rating was abysmal in that.
That's what I was saying. We haven't seen him thrive in those
And
situations.
this is a kid from Atlanta, Georgia. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a guy that's played in warm weather most of his life. Oh, but what about at Ohio State? Well, he didn't play that much. They only played 6 games this year.
Getting hit from NFL DNs in the winter in the snow is a different ball game than what he's had to deal with.
This is the thing that's so funny for people like me that comments. God, I love comments. I didn't realize that I was doing the Ed Orgeron voice. Go Tigers. The thing that is so funny about doing draft things like I do is that nobody takes these things into account when you say, well, I didn't like Justin Fields. And then he winds up in Chicago, which I told you on this show multiple times was the worst scenario that any young quarterback could go to. For the exact same reason I'm saying now. So to what you said about Andy Dalton, all right, let's play a fun game with the Bears. You're going to lose at the Rams.
Yes.
There is nothing changing that.
Yes.
You're going to beat the Bengals just by showing up with 53 dudes with a pulse. At the Browns, it's going to be a loss.
Yep.
So you're 2-2 after Detroit. Then you have to go to Vegas, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, San Francisco, Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Best case scenario. Best case scenario.
1 win.
2. I was going to say 2.
Okay.
You sneak one out. You maybe beat San Francisco with Trey Lance, or Garoppolo it's just gone down or something like that, and you beat the Raiders. If you do that, and this is the rosiest colored projection I have, you're 4-5 going to the bye week. Mm-hmm. And guess what 4-5 gets Matt Nagy?
Fired.
LMNO fired.
There
is no path that's not how this goes. Can you give me any other scenario?
No, because I actually think it's going to be way worse than
week
that.
1, I think you're going to be 3-6 going into the bye week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any way around it. I don't think there's anything that's going to save their jobs because the schedule is tough. You've got a young quarterback here that he has his flaws. I'm not saying Justin Fields is perfect, and I'm not saying Justin Fields deserves to be the starting quarterback of a team week 1. What I'm saying is he gives Chicago something to cling on to where Andy Dalton does not.
And that's what I'm telling you. Matt Nagy does not give a fuck what the fan base thinks. Mm-hmm. He doesn't. He cares about his job. Mm-hmm. This would just be, all right, so let me give you a metaphor here. We talk for a living. If ESPN said, hey, we're going to fire you if this is a shitty analogy because we do kind of care what people think. Matt Nagy doesn't. So what are we going to do? You think we'd start talking hockey because we've got 50 hockey fans?
Right.
No.
Yeah.
We don't. Matt Nagy, what's that old line about fan bases? You start worrying about the fan base, you'll be sitting with them soon enough.
Yeah.
That's where Matt Nagy is. Mm-hmm. Fact or fiction, Andy Dalton gives them a better chance to win games right now. It's not debatable.
Fact.
This guy started 140 games in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Been to the playoffs multiple times. He gives you the best chance to win right now. Oh, the fan base is going to be clamoring for Justin Fields. They're going to be clamoring for something because no matter what happens, they're going to be sub 500 going into the bye week.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is almost like that. You remember those Goosebump books where you could like bounce between endings and you want this to happen? All of them lead to the same page for the Bears. It's all page 89, and it just says Matt Nagy, you're fired. Right there on page 89.
Yeah.
Right.
And Nagy might be looking at Dalton's year last year and thinking, oh, okay, I can ride with this guy. You know, he had a decent season, but the Cowboys' weapons and the Bears' weapons is not even,
different.
you can't even talk about it in the same sentence. Like, it's ridiculous how far down he went in the receiver and running back talent pool, even with the O-line. So
this was the best case scenario in his head. They made the run at Russell Wilson. They got told to get kicked down the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They tried on Deshaun Watson. They tried on everything else. Didn't work. Well, now you're here. And now you're stuck with Justin Fields. And you're stuck with Andy Dalton. And you're stuck with a coach that wants to keep his job.
What about Mac Jones? When does he see the field in 2021 for the New England Patriots? They sat at 15. They got Mac Jones, the guy that has been, compared already to Tom Brady. Oh, it's just because he moves so well in the pocket. He's got such awareness.
Stupid.
He's Got
They
such,
are
such
both,
accuracy in the short field.
They're both all team, all dad bod. So,
All dad bod team.
Yeah, all dad bod.
Absolutely. But you got Cam Newton is supposedly the starter here. I feel like Mac Jones is going to win this job. What do you think?
You two answer this. What week does Mac Jones start?
That's what I was going to ask you. Yeah.
Screw it. Week 1.
Week 1.
Week 1. Ooh. Throw him out there.
I agree with him.
Throw him out there. He's going to win the job. I think he's going to prove that he can run this offense. They don't need Cam Newton anymore in New England.
Jared Stidham can back him up.
I understand that, the one thing that that I keep hinging on here is Bill Belichick trusting a rookie quarterback immediately. Mm-hmm. It's never been done before. I don't know that it's going to happen.
One in the first round.
This is true.
This is the
true.
first quarterback he's ever taken in the first round.
But both quarterbacks are so different, and your system would have to completely change if you made a change mid-season.
Well, you've got 3 quarterbacks.
They've got to decide
2 of them do the same thing.
which one they're going with and stick with that. I think whoever starts week 1, Belichick's going to try to stay with. And I mean, unless something goes terribly wrong, he starts Cam and he loses 4 of the first 5 games. Something like that, I could see a change, but I really don't see a change mid-season if you've got if Cam and Mac Jones really are your 1 and 2 at quarterback, whichever order you want to put them in. The systems that they would have to run are so different. The play calling last year for the Patriots, we had never seen them really do anything like that with the designed runs. And so it's a completely different system that the entire offense is going to have to learn in the preseason. So I think they've got to pick their one guy and stay with him.
You date the stripper, you don't marry her. Straight up, you date the stripper, you don't marry her. Cam Newton's the stripper. Mac Jones is the girl that you can see driving a minivan and taking your kids to soccer practice.
Mm-hmm. Cam does enjoy a nice mom hat.
Yeah,
nice soccer mom hat.
And Cam's got nipple tassels and a coke problem. She's a fun time. You don't marry her.
Right.
And literally everything Bill Belichick has done is, I'm trying to get out of this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can give him every rationale for why Cam's the better quarterback. Not for New England, he's not. Mm-hmm. No, he's not. It's a fucking myth. You can keep portraying myths all you want to do. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick is 68 years old. He's looking at this like, I'm going to do what is best for this team to win right now.
Right.
And here's the thing that you're not going to hear anybody else say about New England. The beginning of their schedule is the only easy part of their schedule. Mm-hmm. Your Miami, at the Jets, New Orleans, Tampa Bay, Houston. It really kind of stops there because then you go.
Literally every other game from there on out is a tough one. Right.
Except Atlanta. Yeah, you got a game with the Falcons and a game with the Jaguars.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you go Tampa Bay on the 3rd, and then you got Houston. Then you got Dallas, New York, LA. That's a pretty difficult stretch. You got Carolina. It's not going to be a pushover.
At Carolina.
Cleveland. Then you get Atlanta. Then you get Tennessee. Then you get Buffalo. Then you get Indianapolis. Then you get Buffalo again. Then you get the Jaguars. And then you got Miami, who's another playoff team to close out the season. It's a very rough schedule, which I don't see at any point in there an easy transition.
Yeah, here's what you're not going to hear anybody else say, I would wager. Let's play this through with Cam Newton. All right, let's say Cam starts. Miami week 1. Win or loss?
Miami. In New England, I think it's a win.
I do too.
Yeah.
At the Jets.
No, it's a loss.
With
It's
Cam,
close.
it might be a
I
win
think it's a
because you got
win.
second start.
I think it's a win.
It's close.
They're going
New
to
Orleans.
start. Belichick can scheme the first couple weeks.
Agreed.
A good start.
New Orleans.
Win.
Win.
Tampa Bay.
Loss.
Houston.
Win.
Dallas.
Loss.
Jets.
Win.
At the Chargers.
Loss.
At Carolina.
Win.
Cleveland. I would have said loss.
I was going to say I think loss at Carolina.
Yeah. Then the Cleveland's a loss.
At Atlanta.
Win.
Tennessee.
Loss.
At Buffalo.
Loss.
That's the bye week. All right, let's do the same thing with Mac Jones. Miami in New England.
Win.
At the Jets.
Win.
I'll say loss.
With
That's
Mac
the
Jones?
one game that's different to me with Cam Newton and Mac Jones.
Really?
That was the exact point I was trying to prove. Is I don't think they're winning, but one game with Cam Newton that they're not winning with Mac Jones. Mm-hmm. And I got news for you. If it goes the way we said it would, the wins would have been Miami at the Jets, New Orleans, Houston, the Jets again, and Atlanta. That was the only synonymous wins.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what that puts them at going into the bye week?
What's that?
6-7. And guess what? If they're 6-7 going into the bye week with Cam Newton or with Mac Jones, people are going to be screaming for Mac Jones.
Mm-hmm.
You know what Cam Newton's big neutralizer is as far as his run game and what he would be doing in New England? I think it's the Jets' hybrid safeties that they got. The guys like Hamza, Nizaldine. I think
Jamie and Sherwood.
Yeah, Jamie and Sherwood. They can put those two guys on both sides of the field and just say anywhere Cam goes, track his ass down. And so I can see if Cam's playing the Jets, how the Jets have the personnel now to be able to slow. And you're not worried about his arm anymore. I mean, unless something changes, unless he gets his powers back from the Monstars, whoever zapped his throwing ability.
Right.
From when he got coronavirus 6 years ago?
Yeah. I just don't. I think the Jets finally have the personnel to shut that down. So I do agree that if Mac Jones is playing, I think they're more likely to win the Jets games than with Cam.
Agreed.
I was convinced last year that Cam Newton was the no-doubt starter of this team. This year, I have not changed on my thought that Mac Jones is the starter of this team.
I was not convinced on Cam Newton last year. I still think you should not have done that. And I'm even less convinced now.
You think they should have rolled with Jarrett Stidham last year?
I said that all offseason. What did Cam
You
Newton
think there was a
give
chance that they still could have won 7 games last year?
No, that's the fucking point.
Oh,
that's what I was trying to tell all of you. What is Cam Newton going to do? All right, let's say Cam Newton comes in here and he's MVP Cam Newton, which we all knew he wasn't going to be.
Right.
He's still not your solution for the future. He's 32 freaking years old. And he doesn't run a scheme that works in New England. So you would have been coming into this year with the same problem all over again. So what you did is you kicked the can down the road. You screwed Jarrett Stidham over, and now you've got this pain in the ass with a kooky hat and a fucking scarf.
Yeah.
And you've got him, Jarrett Stidham, who you still don't know what you have in him, and Mac Jones.
Did you watch Patriots games last year and see the look on Belichick's face when Cam would have a receiver open 10 yards down the field and he'd throw it 7 into the dirt? After going from Tom Brady to Cam,
yeah, it was infuriating.
Oh.
I mean, there were times that I watched New England games and went, Bill Belichick has to be ready to pull his hair out. Because this is, I hate New England with every fiber of my soul.
Yeah.
If New England played a team of serial killers, I'd show up in a John Wayne Gacy jersey. Like, I just straight up, I fucking hate New England. And even I was watching at times going, good Lord, Bill, this has just got to suck for you.
Yeah.
And then every time I would do that, I would go,
Yeah, he had to be on the sidelines contemplating retirement, thinking about his hot wife and his dog and his little cabin that he's going to retire to.
Yeah.
I could see him just zoning out during games, being so frustrated, going from the most accurate quarterback and successful quarterback of all time to a guy that wears scarves at his press conferences and can't throw the ball farther than 10 yards. And I love Cam, and I loved him as a Panthers fan. I love Cam, but at some point his arm just completely fell off. It looked like somebody replaced his arm with a middle schooler's arm. He always needed tall receivers because he was never that accurate. He would always throw the ball over guys' heads. That's why the Panthers had a full NBA starting lineup at one point at the receiver and tight end spot. So he's never been accurate, but I feel so bad watching him play now because he cannot throw the ball. If they would win games or he'd be throwing for 130 yards. Like, it's insane. Stuff he used to do in a quarter his first year in Carolina.
Not first-round quarterbacks. Are there any of them that you think starts at some point this year?
Kellen Mond.
In Minnesota. Is
I
that
do.
projecting injury, or do you think that's actually going to be a decision that Mike Zimmer makes to sit down Kirk Cousins for Kellen Mond?
I'm going to say something, and I'm
Spicy.
and I've done this before.
Yeah.
This is the best third-round quarterback I've seen since Russell Wilson.
All right.
I'm not saying he's Russell Wilson. That's not where I'm headed with this. What I'm saying is that you've got a fan base in Minnesota. They're going to start hot because they play at the Bengals. They'll probably lose at the Cardinals. I think they can beat the Seahawks. Then you play the Browns. That's a loss. Lions, Panthers. Then it gets ugly in a hurry. Cowboys at the Ravens, at the Chargers, Packers, at the 49ers, at the Lions, Steelers, Bears, Rams, Packers, Bears. Back into that schedule's ugly. And I could easily see paths where they start hot and then Kirk starts throwing interceptions like a madman. Because he's going to try to do too much. Here's the thing. That line's really good. That offensive line is – I didn't even realize how good it was.
Then they
With
added
Christian
Darisaw
and Wyatt Davis. You've got Brian O'Neill on the right side. I'm going to go one step further, and I can't believe I'm about to say this out loud. I won't be shocked if Kellen Mond's the starter going into the season.
Oh, no, I can't buy into that.
I'm not saying I think it's going to happen. It won't shock me.
And that's more so
it
your
would
take.
completely floor me if that happened.
And that's more so your take on the Vikings because you weren't that high on Mond. I mean, you were like I
He was
don't
one
know
of the
if
most
you thought
pro-ready quarterbacks.
I don't know if you thought he was going to start year one.
No, hell
like, yeah.
No, he has a stupidly low ceiling to me.
Right.
His ceiling's still higher than Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's still higher than Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, all the stuff I've been saying about how I don't know how I got the Vikings into the playoffs in my bracket. If Kellen Mond takes over and gets them into the playoffs, I predicted that all along, and I want that on the record. Yeah.
I think any quarterback not drafted in the first round, if I had to put money on you starting a game this year, I would probably place a wager on Ian Book before I would put one on anybody.
You can book it.
You're drunk. Ian Book sucks, and the fact that New Orleans took him in the fourth round tells me that there's some scout that was doing very, very heavy pharmaceutical drugs that he may or may not have been prescribed by a doctor.
It's him because I feel like it's possible that Jameis Winston doesn't have anything figured out, and Taysom Hill is god-awful as well. Maybe he sees the field at some chance. Davis Mills is the other one.
Davis Mills will start a game before the year's over.
Yeah.
I don't know if Deshaun starts the season with the Texans.
I'm going to tell you something, another
Spicy.
I'm going to tell you something I've heard, and I don't hate it.
Okay.
It's that birds aren't real.
Here we go.
Literally. It is #birds aren't real. I'm not going to be shocked if Deshaun Watson is not a member of the Houston Texans week 1. And the team that I could see making a move for him, hurrah, is the Philadelphia Eagles.
Ooh.
I've heard it. I've digested it.
Okay.
I've thought about it, and it makes all the sense in the freaking world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you tell me I'm wrong.
Who are they?
I did not tell either one of them this before the
What's
show.
the package?
Not as much as you think. Not nearly as much as you think. And Philadelphia has 3 wins next year.
Mm-hmm. I've been
You're telling me right now, Houston. All right, let's say you're Philadelphia.
Oh,
you tell Houston, we'll give you a 1 and a 3 for Deshaun Watson right now. How fast is he on that plane? With everything going on with him and all the bullshit, how fast is he on a plane? Because I think it's instantaneous.
I don't know that that's enough.
Philadelphia's 1 next year and a 3.
Oh, they're one?
They're one.
In.
Who else is offering that?
That'll be a top 10
right now.
pick.
That's the thing.
Who else
you overplayed your hand, which I kept trying to tell you. The seats are being occupied, and you're running out of places for him to go. Name me another team in the NFL that would actually trade for him right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the legal situation kind of ruined that because I think they were trying to trade him before the draft.
No, they weren't. They weren't listening. They were literally, teams were calling. The Miami Dolphins offered 3 ones. I have that on super good.
Well, I know the Panthers had good offers out there as well, but I just think, and I've been saying it for weeks, I don't see a path, regardless of any settlements, regardless of what happens, I don't see a path for him playing with the Texans another game. I don't. The way everything's happening and all these allegations and things that nobody's quite sure about with all the connections with the Texans ownership and the attorneys and all that weird stuff that we're not going to get into. I just don't see a path to him playing. I think with the things he's been saying, he was trying to get out already. They were trying to come to some sort of agreement, and he wouldn't ever come to the table. So he gave no indication, I don't think, before all this happened, that he was going to play a game for the Texans, and I definitely don't think there's a way he does now. So, and I think his trade value is only going to go down. If he's sitting and he's just not getting traded, but he's not on the Texans' active roster, I don't think the trade value goes up. And there's only so many teams that want a quarterback right now and didn't already invest.
Well, everything's got to be cleared up before then.
Yeah.
I mean, the settlements have to be made. There's still a criminal case going on,
right?
Or a criminal investigation going on. I don't know that any team is going to jump out for him as long as that's still working its way through the system. Now that it's gone criminal, to me, it's a completely different,
situation. Did you hear what David Culley said yesterday?
What'd he say?
He was asked about Deshaun Watson. This is his exact quote. "We have nothing to say about that situation at this time."
Yep.
Cal McNair and ownership a few weeks back indicated about how our organization feels about the situation. I think when Nick Caserio was on not long ago, he also mentioned that the legal process was in effect right now, and we're going to respect that and go from there. You know what that's saying? That's telling you something without telling you something. And that is, I'm getting real fucking tired of answering this question. And Nick Caserio said the exact same thing. The last time he went on record, said damn near the same thing. Then you take a quarterback with your first pick. You already have Tyrod Taylor. There are people that like Davis Mills. I'm telling you right now, you watch me be right. Philadelphia is going to come to the table and say, we'll take him off your hands.
I don't think His
We'll
Holiness.
take him off your hands. We'll give you a 1 and a 3 because they have the draft capital to risk it. That's the beauty of winding up with draft capital like this.
Yeah.
Then the Jalen Hurts thing, and that's the thing. To not give Jalen Hurts a year as the starter when you know it's going to be a disaster. I think we all know that Philadelphia knows. You trot Jalen Hurts out there, this will be a disaster. The one way you can fix that is to have a quarterback that anybody with a brain knows is better. And that's Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
They can take the risk. We'll give you a 1 and a 3. The 3's conditional. 3 could become a 1 in 2 years if he starts 70% of snaps for 2 years.
Would the Texans want Hurts back in the trade?
No.
They wouldn't want him to
You
back
know what,
up,
here's
Mills.
Jalen Hurts' trade value. How much is his jersey worth? How much cash does he show up with in his pockets that we can rob him of at the airport?
Well, once Deshaun's gone, their only quarterback is Davis Mills, who's injury prone.
Tyrod Taylor.
Right.
I mean, and Tyrod, who's also injury prone. I mean, he's had a few things every. I just feel like every year something kind of happens with Tyrod, and I know like a lot of it's been he's been the starter, but then I feel like he'll have something simple like a sprained ankle in a week, and then because he's always been the veteran with a rookie quarterback. I feel like everywhere he's gone.
the unluckiest quarterback.
So, yeah,
in the
he'll
NFL.
have one week injury, play solid leading up to it. The rookie will go in, and then he'll lose his job. So I don't know. I just think, and it does make sense. I guess they wouldn't want anything back quarterback-wise with Tyrod, and they're going to go for a high draft pick. But I just don't see any way His Holiness Jack Easterby even wants Deshaun in the building. I just
firmly
don't see
believe
it.
the way
I
this
don't
is
see
going
it.
to go, they get Philadelphia's 1 this year, and they'll give him a conditional 3. We give you a conditional 3. That 3 is the 3 no matter what. It's a 2 if he plays 50% of snaps over the course of the next 2 years. It's a 1. It's our 1 in 2023 if he plays 75% of the snaps, or we make the Super Bowl. It's going to be some kind of conditional bullshit like that. 100%. That's exactly how I think this is going to go.
It is hard to wrap my head around, but I mean, what you say does make sense. However,
because at this point he's damaged goods because you don't know what he's going to be.
Of course he is.
So you have to find
I
somebody
don't think
that can expend the draft capital.
Right.
Who can do that? The first team in 10 years to have 3 wins.
The question for me is how quickly do you think that all of the charges and things can go away?
It's
because I don't think it's easy.
You're looking at the wrong side of this. The charges and shit don't matter.
Oh, I believe they do.
They don't, because it's not a criminal thing. It's never been a criminal thing.
It is a criminal thing.
It's not a criminal thing. No, it's not, because there's no way to fucking prove it. We've gone down this rabbit hole. How many quarterbacks have we done this with? Ben Roethlisberger was on fucking tape doing it. How far did that go? They can piss in the wind all they want to. It's not going to become a thing. You mark my words that I said that. It's not going to be a thing. 100 times out of 100, he's already made the calls to make this go away.
Yeah.
That's not the thing. The thing is, they overplayed their fucking hand. They were good. They were talking 3 1s. Well, we want 4. Well, now you can get 1. And you're a team that is an absolute train wreck fucking disaster with Deshaun Watson or without. They now realize we are going to be a 4-13 team at best. That's with Deshaun Watson. Without him, might wind up with the #1 pick. We can do whatever we want to at quarterback. Take Sam Howell, take Keaton Slovis, whatever we want to do. You have to scrub the books of this.
Yeah.
No, because the criminal part of this doesn't do there's no part of that. Because I want you to think about this. I was at the beach when this started. There's 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Nothing's happened. You know what I've learned about the criminal justice system? When you go down this road with a high-profile case and nothing happens over the course of 3 months, it's them telling you, we would really like this to go away because we don't want to prosecute this. The attorney for these women came out and said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
That's everybody trying to tell you. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. I'm not a fucking attorney. What I'm saying is that's not part of this. The part of this is Houston has to get away from Deshaun Watson. 100% they must get away from Deshaun Watson because it has become a toxic relationship. I've equated this to relationships forever. When you start trying to embarrass people, when you're with your spouse and you start trying to embarrass each other in public, the relationship actually ended 6 weeks ago.
Right.
That's where you're at with Houston. Now they're at, we don't really want to tell you, she's fine. She's fine. She's at home with this. She's doing stuff. While you're out trying to, get in a VIP room with that stripper we were talking about earlier.
The question to me still remains, though, as long as there is still an active criminal investigation against an NFL player,
Well, the NFL,
it may not come to anything, but as long as it's still under investigation, there's not another team, in my belief, that's going to jump out and go grab that guy.
False.
Okay.
Well, the NFL basically said, because there was a lot of people saying, where are we at on this investigation? What's happening? They put out a statement and basically said, we're doing our full investigation, everything that we do, but we need to meet with we are trying to meet with the witnesses that will meet with us. And the attorney said, I don't want to put them through telling the story over and over, which is the same thing he told the cops when they were trying to investigate. So he doesn't want them to talk to anyone. I just don't see how it actually goes anywhere.
This is a top 8 in the NFL quarterback.
No doubt.
There is a team that will risk some draft capital to get that guy in the building. On the off chance, because here's the thing. Let's say that I'm right and nothing goes of this. And I'm using a lot of prior Jameis Winston, Kobe Bryant, Ben Roethlisberger. That's the first 3 off the top of my head of how this goes. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm not commenting on that. I'm not a fucking attorney. I don't know. They do their jobs. I do mine. I talk about sports. Here's the sports side of this. Let's say that goes away. You get Deshaun Watson for a 1 and a 3. That's 100% the best trade in NFL history.
Absolutely.
No doubt. So if you're Howie Roseman, who's catching a lot of shit right now, do you not think you would risk that? And go,
Eagles fans.
That's the only way we're going to be a competitive team this year.
I think that's the only way Eagles fans look at Howie Roseman in a good light, as if he were to somehow bring Deshaun Watson to
And
Philly.
that's the thing that I don't think you think about enough, is you think about what somebody should do. These are desperate people.
Yeah.
Howie Roseman knows 100% after all of the shit he's taken over the last 12 months, if I get fired by Jeff Lurie, who apparently he has dirty pictures of, who's going to hire him? Yeah. Where do I go? This would be like us going, well, if we get fired here, we have to go collect garbage from now on because no one will ever hire us to do what we do.
Yeah.
Desperate people do desperate things. And that's the reason that when I got the text of, you watched Deshaun Watson end up with Philadelphia Eagles, and I read it and I went, there's no fucking, or is there? Because I started thinking about going, they have the draft capital. They're that desperate. And I actually think he would, I'm not going to say he would make them competitive. Deshaun Watson with the Eagles.
He would make them competitive.
Hold on. Take the journey with me. Jalen Hurts is starter of the Philadelphia Eagles. They go
2-15.
Oh, yeah.
2-15.
Somewhere in that 13, 14.
You
3 and 14.
You had them 4 and 13.
Yeah, there you go.
I had them at 3 and 14. With Deshaun Watson, what do they go?
8 and 9.
In that division?
Something like that.
7
10.
10.
7 and 10, 8 and 9, 9 and 8,
Yeah.
10 and 7. And you know what that could be? Good enough to win that division.
I
If
think-
Washington falls off a cliff, and
Yeah, I
you
was
don't
going to
have-
say, if
have a lot
Chase
of
Young
things
gets
go your
hurt.
way, yeah.
Final question on this Deshaun thing, though. One of the teams that was rumored to be one of his, couple of destinations that he could realistically go to and had the draft capital was the Miami Dolphins. Do you think they're at all still interested?
Nope.
No, they're out.
No.
Nope, because they're not desperate. There's nothing desperate about the Miami Dolphins.
No.
Now, could I see the Dolphins getting in on Aaron Rodgers if that became a thing?
Yeah.
Absolutely, I could.
So they're not married
Does
to
that make
Tua
sense?
in your mind?
No.
No. Because that was the package that was rumored before everything. Was
I never
that
thought they were married.
the
married.
Dolphins would give up Tua and their couple of ones, whatever it was going to be, to get
Here's the
Deshaun.
thing. So Tua could be, all right, rose-colored glasses. Tua could eventually be a top 12, top 15 quarterback in the NFL.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a thing you have in hand if you're Miami.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson's a guy that you could be right. I don't think you are, but he could get prosecuted, and then he's out of the league for a year. And now you have a problem because you don't have a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers, on the other hand, I know his limitations. He's old and he's expensive.
Yeah.
That's fine. I have a Super Bowl level roster, except at quarterback. So I will give up that potential top 12, top 15 quarterback to get Aaron Rodgers. I won't do it for Deshaun Watson. Philadelphia, it's the exact opposite. I don't want to project the guy. I know what Deshaun Watson is. I know he makes me competitive right now, and I'm desperate as hell to keep my job.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I think a lot of people don't think about when they're looking at this. Would I do it? No. I'm not welcoming that. This is also the same franchise that brought in Michael Vick about 9 hours after he got released from a federal penitentiary. Yeah. So they're not exactly afraid of what the public thinks.
Yeah.
Because Philadelphia is a different animal.
Yeah. I think it was largely
they threw batteries
Andy
at
Reid.
Santa Claus and booed Jesus.
Yeah,
So, this is a slightly different place.
This is the same organization that took on Michael Vick.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to shy away from that.
Yeah.
It's still the same ownership group that did the exact same thing 10 years ago.
I mean, I think a lot of that was Andy Reid, but yeah, the ownership had to, of course, sign off on that and give him that chance. And I don't see a way that this goes criminal at all. I mean, it would have already if it was going to happen. In my opinion.
From that, I'm just taking it from people that know way more about legal things than I do. They keep telling me this is going.
It's going to go away.
To settlement.
I mean,
I
did a bit of a deep dive on the case when it first happened, and I didn't see a way that he would ever be convicted. And he turned down a settlement in the beginning for like $300,000. And if you would have told him, none of this will happen and this could have all gone away for $300,000, he'd probably take it now. Oh, yeah. But I think it's telling that he turned that down and was like, no, I didn't do anything, so I'm not going to settle now. And he's still turning down settlement offers, which he could afford to pay and just move on with his life. But he's not. So I think they're going to play some hardball. It might drag out longer than it should. I don't know if he'll really be cleared from the NFL and everyone else to be able to play by the start of the season. But
I can go ahead and tell you, the NFL will not legislate these things until the court process takes its. That's what they've always done.
Right.
Roger Goodell has been steadfast of, yes, if you're prosecuted of something, I will hammer you.
Yeah.
I am not judge, jury, and executioner. I will not do anything until the legal process is unfolded.
I could see a more likely path to Deshaun Watson just sitting for the Houston Texans this year than somebody going out and getting him.
There's no path that Deshaun Watson is not on a football field week one. None.
Really?
There is zero path to that.
But if both sides are saying they're not going to settle, isn't that still going to drag out for so long that the NFL can't clear him? They're just not even
going to do anything until if this never becomes a criminal thing,
they're going to let him
it's
play.
Just civil, they're not going to do anything with it. They've done this time and time and time and time again. And if it becomes criminal, that's slightly different.
But we are in different times. I mean, there's a little bit more accountability out there if the NFL were to.
Reason, all right, going back to Ray Rice. The reason Ray Rice was suspended is because of the video.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it. I've said that on the ESPN show probably 100 times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If there was no video, Kareem Hunt was the same way. The reason he got cut is because there was a video.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yes, it is different times, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong. What I'm saying is that the NFL has legislated these things pretty much the same way forever.
Yeah,
there is zero path that Deshaun Watson's not on a football field week one, and the more time goes on, the less confident I am it's with the Houston Texans. I'm just reading tea leaves. There's an old saying, when people try to tell you who they are, you should listen.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
The Houston Texans are 100% trying to tell you where they're at.
Yeah.
We killed him for taking Davis Mills. Okay, well, think about it this way. What if they're completely checked out on Deshaun Watson?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think they are.
We'll take whatever somebody will give us.
No, I think they are.
And then you go Tyrod Taylor, Davis Mills into this year. Okay, well, that makes a little bit more sense now. Mm-hmm. Because let's say you're right. You wind up with your one and somebody else's. You can wind up with Kayvon Thibodeau with your pick next year, and now you're building what might be an actual legitimate NFL roster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When will the rookie quarterback start? It's very convoluted, as you can see.
How many rookies play a game this year?
How many rookies play a game this year?
Start a game.
Start a game this year. I'm going to say 6.
And yours is thinking Trey Lance doesn't start a game all year.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'll say 5.
I was going to say 5.
I'll take Trey Lance out.
I'll say 7.
Wow.
So you got Mills.
And Davis Mills.
I think Mills starts for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably say 6. Yeah.
I'll say Mond and Davis Mills along with the 5 first-round guys.
I don't know if Mond does, but I would say 6. I think Davis Mills.
I think Minnesota and the chances of Mond winning this job, he'd have to be otherworldly.
Right.
But here's another thing you got to remember about Kirk Cousins. Just remember, and this name keeps being thrown at me, and I feel like there has to be a reason for this. Mm-hmm. Sam Bradford. That keeps getting thrown at me.
Okay.
Because you remember they held on to Sam Bradford, and then they dealt him to Minnesota, actually.
Right.
When Bridgewater went down. I keep hearing Sam Bradford. Just watch. There are a couple quarterbacks, and Garoppolo and Cousins are the two I keep getting tied to that. Just watch. There's a value, and they can get out of Kirk Cousins really swimmingly in a trade starting about 2 weeks from now.
Nice. Coming up later on today here in the Sportsocracy, Jeremy's going to do his best to piss off his new least favorite team in the NFL.
Most delusional fan, but how does the shittiest team in the league have the cockiest fans? How does that happen?
They're not the shittiest team in the league because the Houston Texans and the Detroit Lions still live out there.
I would take Detroit over Cincinnati historically. Who was the other team you just said?
Houston.
Houston's got a shorter franchise history.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a fun stat before we get out of here.
Yeah.
The Cincinnati Bengals have been a football team for 53 years. They've made the playoffs less times than Tom Brady has.
Yep.
Tom Brady has more playoff appearances than the Cincinnati Bengals do.
Yep.
Jeremy is loved in the Midwest.
I am. Ohio loves me.
Cincinnati fans came hard after Jeremy here, and so he's decided to keep poking that bear. Cleveland is no longer his least favorite team.
Give a fuck what you think about me.
He switched over to poking the bear on the Cincinnati Bengals, and
Bears
we'll
poking
have
bears.
Hey, the truth hurts.
We'll have the latest off-season power ranking coming out today here in the Sportsocracy. We will get into basketball and other things from the weekend this afternoon on the ESPN Asheville show as we went down the rabbit hole there on the rookie quarterbacks starting this season. Don't forget to check us out on Patreon. Patreon.com/thesportsocracy. Follow us, like us, share us on all the social medias. Hit the subscribe button so you see all of our content going out like we have had all of the win-loss projections going out over the weekend. Coming up later on this week, we will have all of the off-season final grades.
Yep, and thank you to our two new patrons, Robert Johnson and David Evans Olson.
Yep.
They are new segment producers that we'll have a still for them tomorrow.
Yeah.
I got here late this morning. Frankly, I wanted to sleep about 9 hours longer than I did.
And don't forget to all of our Patreon subscribers and all of you as well who have not yet subscribed on Patreon. We always are open to your suggestions on what you want to hear talked about right here in the Democratic Republic of Sports. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Tommy Bradley. He's Jeremy Greene.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time.